another point I needed to put on the record. Regarding July 27th, 2017, I was walking on the river in Astoria, Oregon to go to the Safeway grocery store. And I stumbled on a person, Chris Duffy, who's wearing a Sunset Empire Park and Recreation District jacket. And that solidified or confirmed to me the nature of his employment, because his community center side of the campus has a different name, and I wasn't sure if he worked for Northwest Senior and Disability or for Bob Chisholm Center or for Sunset Park and Empire, which I think in some ways he works for all of them. He's not an employee of Northwest Senior and Disability, but the grants are issued through state authorities or Department of Human Services or Meals on Wheels, however that works. So when I saw the logo on that, I was like, oh, okay, so that's who you work for? And this main comment I need to get in that he brought up is, he said what he had been doing is bad for his girlfriend Kim and her children. He said he can't, something about being that guy on the couch. And when he said that guy on the couch, he was looking off into the bay, and we were standing both looking into the bay. And I believe he's putting his arm around me. And I was telling him, oh, well, it's possible to have platonic friends, even if some people don't believe that is the case. But I took his reference to something like, I can't be or that guy on the couch, or that when I am acting like that guy on the couch, I am hurting Kim and her children. I took that to be a reference to his assault, where he suddenly pushed me down and pinned me down on my very beautiful couch I got for $20 from Impact Thrift. And I took that as a second conversation in attempted reconciliation or arbitration about, what did you do? Why did you do it? What's the meaning of all this? The first time I talked with him about it, I was extremely nervous to have to see him again, but I used the opportunity well after this July 3rd concert of patriotic music at the Liberty Theater. He wanted to get out really quick, and I took it that because he was trying to basically hassle a bunch of different women, he was getting kind of secretive about who he's being seen with, which I was kind of like, okay, dude, you just assaulted me a few nights ago. Now you don't want to be seen with me. Is that because you know what you did to me is wrong? But we walked up the hill to the schoolyard outside the Catholic church in the old school, and I was like, well, what was all that about? What was this roughhousing, as my dad would call it? And he kind of like laughed about it, and then was quickly like, okay, tomorrow I have to volunteer for the Seaside Police for safety patrol for July 4th of 2017, and I need to get home early. And he basically was looking pretty dodgy. I asked him, so are you in the doghouse? Kind of meaning like, is the reason why you're going around assaulting random women that you barely know because you feel really put out because your girlfriend kicked you out, and I'm trying to understand his motive. Like, why did you attack me? And he said, no, she's in the doghouse. And I remember thinking like, yeah, fat chance she's in the doghouse. I think it's the other way around. And in my follow-up email after this conversation, where I really didn't get any closure, he didn't apologize. He kind of made light of his attack, of pinning me now in what he calls wrestling or tussling me. I basically indicated to him, if you are calling this girl Kim in the doghouse, and then you're using like assaulting me or trying to get somewhere with me sexually as just a method to punish her, your attraction to punishing her is still maintaining a relationship. So the second time I discussed with him his assaultive behavior on July 1st, was July 19th. And I was kind of worried because I was not hearing from him. I'm like, okay, so you just assault me and drop me, basically. That's interesting. And Brenda had gone to chew him out, I think, on probably July 2nd or something like this Sunday. Yeah, July 2nd. So she doesn't even know the half of what's going on with him. And July 3rd day, I don't know. I told him he's begging to come up to hang out with me in my building, which is like low-income projects housing, like subsidized housing, low-income Northwest Housing Authority, right? And I'm like, I was like, you don't understand. Women don't feel safe. They don't feel safe walking out at night. And do you realize what a luxury it is to be able to just walk the Riverwalk, which is somewhat a little bit unsafe, but having a guy friend to be there beside you? And he wasn't really listening. He was just like, oh, can I please come up? Can I please come up? So I'm like, you were really out of control before. And at this point, of course, he's offered me this radio gig, and it seems like he wants to offer me all these things, including he's asked me to be his roommate, or asked to be my roommate. He's already asked to be my roommate twice, because I already told him I'm leaving Astoria. No, that's by the 27th. Oh, God. So he comes up, and he's basically sitting on the couch briefly, and much more defensive, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm dating George. I don't want to mess anything up with George. And by some point, and it is more foggy, but I do remember it was really quick because he had to go to work. He's pushing me up against the wall, which would be like the wall facing south, right by my kitchen, pushing me up against it, trying to put his face all over my neck, and saying, I'm going to go home and masturbate. So by the time I see him on the 27th, and he's talking about being that guy on the couch, I know he's referring to his attack, where he pinned me down and held me against my will, where my arms are squirming, my legs are squirming to see if I can break free from the pin down. That's what he was talking about when he's talking about being the guy on the couch, after menacing me about his herpes. So he's admitted that he knows what he did to me, and now he's admitted what he's admitted to adult protection. And I got that really nice letter from the lady on the board. So at this point, I guess we're just having a waiting game to see what his future is, if his contract is renewed or whatever. But from a mandatory reporter angle again, I have to report. I could not sleep on this. My conscience could not allow his extremely violent behavior to go unreported. And it was a very excruciating feeling of knowing that much about him and trying to reach out and being sort of smacked down multiple times by people who didn't want to believe me or take it seriously.